star so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. They'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy.
With all the fight training he's had for all his movies, though, that he would know how to hit a guy.
Yeah, I do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He might have just like not been in like like Hulk smash mode. He was just like in tender snowflake mode. And he also he's like, maybe he was acting, maybe the slap itself was the act, but I don't think the rest of it was acting. I think he tried to make it look as real as he could and but not hurt Chris Rock. Because I mean, honestly, yeah, like you said, with all the fighting that he's been exposed to, and he's a big dude. Like he could have like literally knocked the shit out of, like he could have made Chris Rock shit his pants with the slap if hit him right. But I don't know. It's but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was all some grand scheme to sell alopecia medicine. But hey. YouTube, this is a comedy show, and any donations that are made will be donated to the survivors of alopecia. So we're
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truffle pig alopecia.
Yes. And this might be a Science-Squatch plot too. You never know.
It could be. Well, cheers.
Well,
it's good to be with you.
Yeah, cheers. How's Tennessee treating y'all?
It's amazing. It's really nice. Freedom is just amazing. I love it. It's a good fit for me because as you know, I love to talk and love to chat with people. And what I have realized though is that we're going to have to budget like 30 minutes into every stop we make.
Oh yeah.
People love to talk. And we were at a boot store the other day. And I'm not even kidding you. This guy told me his whole life story about his vasectomy, all his stepkids with fetal alcohol syndrome, and then he fist bumped us when I said we don't like communism, and it was just incredible. It was just one thing after another, and then we went to the post office. Friendliest people ever. It's incredible how nice people are, how helpful they are. How willing they are to help you succeed. That's a really big change. So
yeah,
it's going to take some time to adjust to that because I still am very skeptical and wary. I have trust issues now after living in New England with people. So it's just going to take a little while to get used to it, but I like it.
To expound on that, what was some of the stuff you guys experienced? Because you didn't cover it much while you guys were still in lockdown. But like, what was some of the stuff that happened when you guys were going through it there in Vermont?
Yeah. So, I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, as our listeners know, I have a large mouth and I do like speaking my mind. And I've always been really interested in politics and news, and not in a self-righteous way, but just in a way that I like to discuss those things. So I was always pretty vocal on my social media about what was going on. And I thought I always did it, even when I was saying my opinion, I thought I did it politely and kindly and without condemnation for people who believe different things than I do. But that got around. And so I started to have some issues, just like hate mail and stuff like that. Not that different than what I've gotten as a homeschool parent. I get some weird things with that. And then also being a, meat farmer, livestock farmer, poultry farmer. I get a lot of hate mail from vegans about murdering animals. So I'm used to that kind of thing. But the tone really changed with the BLM stuff. That was when I think that kind of a new, more aggressive form of Marxism and activism became normalized where I'm from. And shit really hit the fan. And I always knew that I was always going to be one of the few people in my community with my beliefs, but I was comfortable with that. I mean, I'm fine with that. And I was never trying to like evangelize other people or anything like that. But what it morphed into then was Antifa getting involved, death threats, threats of arson, just unbelievable stuff. Our whole business basically shut down overnight. There was like a boycott, just unbelievable slander and like malicious stuff. I mean, it was all completely fake what people were saying, but for some reason people believed it. And so for me, that flipping of the script was so reminiscent of in the 30s, 20s, 30s. Because I was always really interested in reading about World War II and like military history and stuff. And I just always wondered, how did, Germans living in a small town hate their neighbor instantly? Somebody who had been their family doctor, or, somebody they had interacted with on a daily basis, and their kids knew each other and they went to the same school and they knew that they weren't like disease vectors and stuff. How did that change to thinking of them in an inhuman way? And that's what we experienced is we were just, bottom of the rung of the ladder of society. So there was no future for us and there was no ability to mend fences. And I refused to apologize to communists who the apologies wouldn't matter. Like there's no way to dialogue at that point. There's no way to dialogue it and to make it okay again and to build trust again. There's no middle ground. And that's one thing with conservatives that really drives me nuts is the whole, it's a balance between you want to be Christian and kind to your neighbor and all those things. But there's like a level of tolerance that we put up with of terrible, terrible behavior. And this was the worst behavior I'd ever seen. Like it was adults behaving terribly. And it didn't stop with our kid. He was fair game for them. And there's basically just no future for us. There's was a lot of mixed feelings because it's very embarrassing what happened. I mean, even though it wasn't our fault, it's similar to like being in a failed marriage where there's abuse or I don't know, or being raped or something, but you still, even though I know that I didn't do anything wrong, it was still terribly embarrassing and horrible to be called a racist. I'd be out in the garden working and people would have their kids in their Subaru or Prius and scream Nazi to me. I mean, it just was horrible. And I know there's lots of other people who have experienced this, over the past couple of years, and, being canceled and stuff like that is nothing new, but it's hard when it happens in your hometown with people that you really do love and you think that you have a solid relationship with. And it's also equally challenging when family doesn't understand it. I mean, this whole world right now has been so divisive for so many people's relationships. So it sucked, but I think we knew that we could either continue living that nightmare, that a familiar nightmare, or we could just rip the Band-Aid off and like jump off the cliff and see where we land. So that's kind of where we're at right now. It's still a zillion uncertainties, and I don't know how it's all going to work out right now. But I just had to get away from that kind of just level of abuse.
Yeah. Well, you gotta admire her here in the chat, Lance Gerber. He says you're cute. He wants so Lance. This is Kate Bowen. She's formerly from Vermont. Lance graduated high school a couple of years before me, but yeah, we're from the same hometown. But anyway, yeah, that's it's wild. Like I watch all this crazy nonsense go on, but like pretty insulated as far as like the real crazy people. Like we're in a real small town, and yeah, like, and it's a real conservative part of the state, and I just don't. I try not to leave a whole lot because it's pretty good here.
Well, and that's the thing that I realized, like, even just being here a couple weeks, I understand now why people aren't like flooding into Vermont to rescue Vermonters or something. Like, you wouldn't believe what is going on in ultra progressive areas because here it's just a nightmare that I've put away. It's like a chapter of my life. I've closed that book, and like once in a while I check out, Vermont liberal media and stuff like that, but I kind of don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. And it's just amazing how when you're in a place where it's okay to have an American flag or a don't tread on flag, I mean, I'm not talking about any other controversial flags. I'm talking about the American flag is not okay in my community.
Yeah.
It's just the level of self-censorship you have to go through, and the level of self-control and exerting that much energy constantly to censor yourself when you're going just to go, get diesel or go to the post office is unbelievably exhausting. And I mean, I think Vermonters used to be just as friendly as people in Tennessee or anywhere else in the country. I think it's just a level of mental and emotional and abuse and poverty that just makes you very unhappy and just holding on for dear life. Because I recognize too, I'm super grateful that we were able to get out. I mean, even though this has been incredibly challenging, so hard, so much work, I know there's a lot of people, there's single moms I know that don't feel like they can leave. They don't have the ability to hire a moving van or a storage unit, or there's just so many people trapped that I really hope once we can get settled, there's a way that we can help people get out of those kind of situations. So yeah, I feel very happy that we're going to be able to start over. But needless to say, I'm a fish out of water though down here. I don't know which way is up, and I'm not used to being. Right now we're in kind of a city area, and I'm not used to that at all. So that's completely new to me, and I don't like that very much. But that's all right.
I bet not. What's the price of fuel out there?
What is it, James? Like five for diesel.
Yeah, it was like $4.62 for unleaded today. So yeah.
Do you know what it is for gas?
$3.75.
Yeah, like just around $4, something like that for gas.
So yeah, you guys are quite a bit cheaper than us, but we're also bordering on California too. So it's our fuel prices are always quite a bit higher than normal places. But yeah, shit's getting expensive.
Yeah, groceries, inflation, it's wild.
Airline tickets are still relatively cheap though. Like
I think they're going up though. I saw they're dropping a lot of the flights just to kind of consolidate demand a little bit.
I just booked a flight to Denver for next month, and so hopefully that doesn't get all jacked up. But I don't know. Southwest is usually pretty good. Like they've never really treated us wrong. So every other airline I've been on just been a giant fucking pain in the ass.
Oh yes, that's why I don't go anywhere. That's why I'm a hermit.
Me too. I'd like to get out there and do some stuff, but the traveling part is what gets me. Did you see that they released the suspect from this New York subway shooting?
I did.
Yeah, you had to go um, 3 or 4 paragraphs down. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 paragraphs down before they give any sort of description of him. He's a black guy. And 11 paragraphs down, it talks about his YouTube videos. But then they note he is black, capitalize the B. Yeah, you got to capitalize B nowadays. White, you don't capitalize W because that's the world we live in now. Are replete with black nationalist rhetoric, violent languages, and bigoted comments. Some of them directed at other black people. This guy sounds awesome.
Crazy.
Oh man,
It looked really messy too. I looked at the news this morning. I had a friend who was in Brooklyn, and I texted her to make sure she was not part of it. But that looked like, I mean, there's so much crime there. I would be terrified to live there. We went down there 2 years ago. There was a Farmer Veteran Coalition event, and we got to stay in Times Square. I say we got to, but I'm not really sure it was a privilege or not, because it was terrifying. There was just so much lights and noise just all the time. So many people. It was
that
awful.
when you guys were on Fox and Friends?
Yeah, we were on Fox and Friends. Yeah. Well, really, Mark was on camera. I was just in the background schmoozing with political people, which was so much fun.
Yeah, I bet.
And it was really funny. Mark got all makeup on. Like, I've never seen anything like it. It was caked on, and he was in a Hannity seat where he gets his makeup done. And
oh wow,
he came out, and I was like, "Honey, you look really good." But then I got closer to him, and you could just see like the orange kind of Donald Trump, colors running off of him. It took so many washcloths once we got back to the hotel room to scrape it off.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, it was a fun event, but it was right before New York City started to slip, crime wise. And we didn't have any problem. It was seemed very safe when we were down there, but what a tourist trap. That isn't really anything I would advise anyone to ever go to. Times Square was terrible, and there was no food. It was awful.
It's like kind of cool to see, but then when you're in it, it's nuts.
I thought I'd have a seizure or something. There's a lot of other places I'd rather go than that.
Yeah. Now, New York City really is awesome when it's not crime ridden and whatnot. Like there's just so much cool stuff to see, and there's just so many different cultures all right there on top of each other, and it's just wild to interact with all that. I would never want to live there, but it's pretty cool to visit.
Yeah, and I think once you're outside of those tourist trap areas, you can get, really affordable, good food. Where we were was not. We actually went to a restaurant. I was so embarrassed. We went inside because we were starving. It was like 9:00 at night. We hadn't eaten. Went and sat down. It was some kind of like fancy steakhouse, and we sat down, and it was so expensive. And this is 2 years ago, so way before inflation stuff. And I felt so bad. We got up and left. It was so embarrassing. But I was like, I've got steak in the freezer. There is no way I'm spending, $80 on a crappy steak from Brazil. Yeah. No thanks.
No shit. No, it's crazy. You're gonna have to watch what you eat down there. Like, or you'll get to be 400 pounds pretty quick.
Hell yeah. I don't know how people aren't all. I mean, I know there's a lot of obesity, but I mean, I would look like those people in Wall-E rolling around. Everywhere we've gone has had free hot dogs. I've never seen so many hot dogs everywhere. It's wild. And there's just so much, a lot of sweet stuff, like a lot of soda. Yeah, just a lot of fast food.
We used to, we were just talking about that the other night. I used to put like 2.5 spoons of sugar in my coffee every day, each cup. And then like I like autism took over one day, and I added up like how much sugar that I was consuming just through coffee, and I was like, holy shit, how am I not diabetic already? And so I quit putting sugar in my coffee, and it really wasn't that hard of a habit to kick. And yeah, no, I was like, yeah, and I don't drink soda hardly ever anymore. And I was like, there's just so much freaking sugar in that. But Southern food is really, really good, but like every once in a while.
Yeah, and there's a lot of barbecue and stuff like that, which is
Barbecue. Barbecue is really not that bad. Like especially if you don't go like real sauce heavy stuff. There's there's always some sugar to it, but it's more, I don't know, especially like Texas style and even out here with tri-tip, it's more about the meat than it is anything else. Like the sauce is kind of secondary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta find, I mean, because we won't have any beef ready for a while. So that's one thing, is I gotta find an East Tennessee farmer that we can give them all of our money, because
yeah,
I've looked all over. I even went to somebody suggested a fancy butcher place here, and I went, and it was the grossest meat I've ever had. I felt terrible, and I spent a ton of money on bacon and some burger, and it was gross.
How far are you from West Virginia?
I don't know. I guess it depends where in West Virginia. Probably like 3 or 4 hours.
Okay. Dan Given lives over in West Virginia somewhere, and they've got a little processing plant. So hit him up. I know they raise bison, but they also I think they're a commercial slaughterhouse. So yeah, so check with him. I'll put you guys in touch, but
Definitely. Sounds good.
He listens pretty regularly, so he might contact you before, if I forget. I'm sure he'll probably contact you anyways. But.
I'm just dying for good meat. I even got some steak tonight at a restaurant, and it was so bad.
Really?
I think they're purposefully doing it to transfer people over to their cricket burgers or whatever the hell it is. I really think they're just making it bad.
Yeah.
It's just so unsatisfying to have shitty food. Like, I don't have a lot of things that I like super enjoy, and that's one of my favorite things,
Yeah. So like we've got a freezer full of beef right now, and it's really, really good. But the beef at the store here, it comes from Harris Ranch beef out of California, and that's like, we used to feed cattle for them and or start cattle for them, but they're known for really good quality beef. But I like beef exports have like gone up 80% or some shit since last year, and yeah, so I think they're importing the cheap shit and selling it here, and and then sending our good stuff overseas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the stuff I've eaten is just not even the right texture. It's just terrible. I don't know. Maybe they think everybody had COVID, so everybody's lost their sense of taste or something.
I don't know. I think there's going to be some sort of big reckoning coming with the packing business. I don't know what exactly is going to happen with it, but like it feels like that's kind of coming to a head. The ranchers are real pissed off, and they're actually starting to organize a little bit. I don't even know if they're on the right page or not, honestly. I don't know, but like they're at least, there's a pretty concerted effort to get something done, and Biden's kind of made it a, not really front and center, but he's at least kind of paid homage a little bit to that concern. And I think there's enough public opinion. There might something might come to a head, but I don't know what, and I don't know if it's going to be a good thing or not.
Well, I'm sure it won't be exactly as we would like, but
no,
hopefully it'll be better than it is.
Yeah, that the crossbred dairy cattle is like that's a big thing because that they can pump out a lot of beef that will never see a blade of grass in its lifetime. Just
Mhm.
and dairy is a subsidized industry, so they have no incentive to stop producing milk, especially when they're getting some real value out of their discarded steer calves, basically.
Yep.
And yeah, bull calves. I mean, but yeah, it's I don't know. They're like I was just talking with the guy today, and I was like, that they tried vertically integrating the beef industry with or the cattle industry with like buying the big ranches. So there's still a lot of they still own some big ranches, but then they figured out that wasn't profitable. We tried it there in the feed lot, and that failed pretty miserably. And and I think Cactus still has some of their cows, so it's not wholly vertically integrated by Tyson, but Cactus and Tyson are just they're they don't send anything except like Railer cattle anywhere except Tyson plants. So it's it's kind of crazy how they tried and then it looks like with the integrating it with the dairy beef cattle with the dairy business, like seems like they may have found their sweet spot, and they can have a steady pipeline of the exact type of cattle they want and get them just very, very uniform and consistent. And so now, and it adds a little bit of heterosis to to those Holsteins. They may not turn out quite as inbred and fucked up as just a straight Holstein.
Yeah, where I'm from is where the Holstein Association is, and
Mm-hmm.
when we started farming, we would get Holsteins bulls from dairy farms, and people wouldn't believe us when because we'd raise them for beef, mostly on grass, but some grain finish too, and they wouldn't believe that you could eat a Holstein. That was like a really big deal. We had to overcome that with a lot of customers. And I was like, you're eating Holstein all the time if you buy meat at the grocery store. But they didn't believe us. It was remarkable how the PR campaign has fooled the public on what they're eating. Like they just think they're eating, Angus beef all the time.
Oh yeah, well, because it only has to be 51% black and grade at the right level. That's
right.
Whoever the marketing team was for certified Angus beef, like that's who the ranchers need to hire, because they changed the entire cattle business to black-hided cattle. I mean, there is a Black Hereford Association now, and not saying that Black Hereford's a bad breed. I'm just saying Black Hereford wouldn't have been a thing, or if it was to become a thing, it wouldn't have been for who knows how many years down the road. Just because,
that's B, black with a capital B, right?
Always capital B. I think we should just start increase then it'll be like capital B, capital L, and then just just further down the line, and then it'll be all caps black, and then you add a plus max. Have you caught any South Park since the COVID stuff?
Yeah, I have probably more than I have watched since I was in high school.
No, man,
it's pretty funny.
They're spot on. It's really funny. Everything's a max or a plus. They're Applebee's plus max.
I had never seen the one, I think it's a fairly old episode, but about the gentrification.
Oh yeah,
and I had never, Yeah, the soda sopa episode, and there's
Yeah.
a huge uproar now and back in New England with affordable housing, and they're doing that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
oh my goodness, that episode is amazing. If
Oh,
anyone hasn't seen it, you got to watch that one. The soda sopa was amazing. Even if you hate South Park, I think that episode would just tickle you pink.
what is absolutely hilarious is they did a vaccine episode before the COVID vaccine, and like it was funny. Not to call myself some sort of actual soothsayer or prophet or whatever, but like I've been joking about starting the Burning Daylight religion since forever, and Matt and Trey Parker who I like them, and Mike Judge, and I forget who else would be like the prophets of my religion, because it's all about comedy and capitalism. It just that's all it is. And they like they're almost as spot on as the Simpsons, and they've been on almost as long. And it's just some of the stuff that they except theirs is like far more timely than the Simpsons. Like the Simpsons will do it from like 30 years ago, but like yeah, the South Park guys are like a couple of years ahead of the curve, and it's funny just to see how that shit plays out.
Is it funnier too being from Colorado, you think?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many inside. Like if you're not from Colorado, it wouldn't hit quite as hard. But like the Casa Bonita stuff, like when you were a kid, like when you went to Denver, like you just hoped you got to go to Casa Bonita, and so like if you're not from there, like you just I don't know, it just probably doesn't come across as funny. But I don't know, there's just certain things like there's the baseball episode where they have to go all over the state to play in this all-star tournament, and it's like, so when they go to Fort Collins, it's just like every single person is like very, very white. And then when they go to Greeley, there's cows in the background, like cows on the on the playing field. And then and when they go to Pueblo, it's just nothing but Mexican kids. And it's kind of funny. Like if you're not from Colorado, you probably wouldn't you wouldn't pick up on it as much. But and it's just those guys are so funny, so freaking funny. And like they still, I don't know how they just keep doing it every year. They got something new out, and I don't know, it's funny just like how many. I mean, it's obvious they've like kind of influenced my style, because they just cram so many dick jokes, but also like provide some really like valuable political commentary at the same time. But they do it just through really shitty animation. That's the funniest part. Like they never, as they got bigger, they never changed the animation to like make it look cool. It's the same old just shitty animation.
It's a good show. It's amazing they've been able to keep doing it year after year.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but it's I'm glad they're still alive.
Yeah.
Gilbert Gottfried, like that was, damn it. I really think if I could have somehow made that show happen, the free range Holstein idea. You've heard that. I've told you about this before. Yeah. I just, can you imagine just a bunch of dumbass Holstein cows out on just like a high mountain grazing permit, and then Gilbert Gottfried narrating it all? I think that would really sell. I think people would watch the shit out of that. I mean, I would watch it just because it just be ridiculous and funny, but that's never gonna happen now. God damn it.
Do you think what was the cause of death, Matt?
I don't know. They said like a long-term illness. I think I wonder if it was like Norm, where he had cancer for several years. He just but he didn't tell anyone because he didn't want to distract from his comedy. He didn't want to get sympathy laughs. So, well, yeah, that sucks. He was Gilbert Gottfried is one of those guys you can't explain why he's funny, but he's just funny. Like, the voice is there, but the voice is kind of annoying. But there's something about him that's funny, and I don't know how to explain what it is. He's just funny. And I don't know. He was kind of old school too. Just I don't know, he's been around for fucking ever. Like he's been like relevant forever too. Or not relevant, but at least he's been known by several generations of people. He's like, who that guy is. I don't know. You think there's any conspiracy behind that?
Maybe.
Oh yeah. What?
I don't know. There could be. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just suspicious of everyone who's dying right now, but
I know, right?
That's just me.
I was curious, like if you'd heard something, or if you were just
like he went to Epstein Island one time. He was the comedian Jeffrey Epstein had hired.
Oh, huh.
Or he was good friends with Hunter Biden. Some
was
stuff.
He really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally lying.
Okay.
That's all fake news.
Fake news. I was gonna say that's funny. I'd never heard it.
It could be though. It could be.
What the comedy thing? I wouldn't have been that surprised, because especially after listening to like podcasts and like listening to different comedians, especially talk back and forth with each other, and like they were talking about like Nate Bargatze was invited one of his friends to watch him do this corporate gig, and it was like he's even Nate Bargatze, he's like one of like the nicest guys in comedy. He like did that. And it was like, no, that was strictly for money. Like I didn't put any effort into it. Like, so like who knows what they don't even know who they're performing for. It's like, it's a corporate gig, and that's just straight cash money. And then, and then it's, on down the road. So I could see that.
Yeah. Well, it's like when there's pictures of celebrities with somebody who turns out to be a creeper. I mean,
yeah.
Those people meet so many people all the time.
Yeah, I don't think and I don't think I have to, like, some of those people I don't think are that that showed up on Epstein Island. I don't think they knew what they were getting into. And then once you're there, like what do you do? Like like you're there.
You're on the island, and it's like, I mean, unless you have a boat or you're really good at swimming, you're not going to get off of it.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, like, when you get close to it, it just has a creepy vibe. That's all I have to say. Like we took a boat and went right by it.
Oh.
I thought that the captain of the boat was joking, this guy, when he took us there, and he was not joking. But I didn't even know much about Jeffrey Epstein at that time, and it looked really creepy.
Well,
it's strange.
The powers that be are trying very hard to keep it that way, where you just don't know very much about that.
Yeah, I heard it's for sale. We could buy it and make it the Burn in Daylight headquarters.
Yeah. Elon tweeted out to make the Twitter San Francisco headquarters a homeless shelter, since nobody shows up to work there anymore. I was telling my wife today, and let's see, I'm going to clip this. So 3854. I think Elon Musk should be Secretary of Defense. Like, have him at the head of, and like make it a lifetime appointment for him, because then he has all the DARPA money, and he decides where the DARPA money goes. And just think, like, if it ever comes to nuclear war, like hipster Elon would be like firing nukes at Russia from like a French medieval cannon, and they would still be better than the Russian nukes. Or he'd just have like a giant fart gun in space that shot nukes down. Just put Elon's weird ass brain in charge of the defense budget, and just see where that goes. And let him keep his stake in Twitter so that he can show the Russians all the weird ways that he's going to be able to nuke them. Like, I don't see how we lose there.
It couldn't be much worse, so why not?
I don't think so. I mean, it's better than Lloyd Austin, who is and Mark Milley, that are worried about forcing the vaccine on everybody and white guilt.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, and Elon Musk could turn out to be an evil genius too, but aren't they all?
Possibly, but like if we're gonna just continue down this path, it looks like we're in like Cold War 2.0 for right now. We'll see. They're really pushing. The war hawks are really pushing to get us involved militarily, which to Biden's credit, he's seems like he's very much against that, but he also looks like he's not much longer for this world either. So who knows? But if we're actually gonna like start this arms race again, like put somebody like that who sees the world in a completely different view, and so like we could have the best weapon systems and be able to troll the fuck out of everybody too. Imagine it's like
a green army.
Right. And
battery powered.
I just imagine that, just like a giant orbiting fart gun that fires nukes. I mean, how cool would that be? I bet Elon could do that.
He probably could, but
that's what I'm saying. If he had DARPA's budget or just had the defense budget at his fingertips, I mean, come on.
He's like entertaining. He has good tweets. I like people in power with good tweets.
Yeah, and I haven't made up my mind on him as to whether he's good or evil yet, but like I do enjoy watching what he's doing. I don't know where it's all headed, and I don't know. Maybe he's I don't know. He's an interesting fellow.
Yeah, I hope he's a good guy. I mean, I hope that he's cares about humanity and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, he seems pretty weird. Definitely.
He does seem weird.
And his family was really weird.
Yeah. I mean, he might be an alien. He might be a science squatch. We don't know. He's kind of a big guy, isn't he?
I think so. He's really awkward though. I mean, I remember watching that Tesla truck unveiling when he broke the window, and it was painful to watch.
Yeah.
It was really awkward. It was like a Biden speech. You got that nervous feeling where you just wanted to cheer him on, but they just couldn't do it. So
that's how I felt that whole time during that I watched that Power of the Dog movie. I just felt uncomfortable and just like, what is going on here? What's happening? Is something gonna happen? Feels like something's supposed to happen here, and then nothing ever fucking happens. And this is just a shitty movie.
I did not see that.
You don't. It's awful. I clicked it on because in typical man fashion, I was just like scrolling through Netflix, and I was like, Western. All right, boom. It's not a Western. Like, it was set in the Old West, but like the early days of automobiles. But other than that, there was nothing Western about it. And it was just like, is this guy gay? It feels like they're leading up to this guy being gay. And it's like, but nothing ever happened. And like, I got 3/4 of the way through the movie, and I was like, yeah, those two are gay. They're going to be gay together. And I don't, this is unnecessary.
Were you hoping it was more like Brokeback Mountain-y?
I never watched Brokeback Mountain, so I don't know. No, never watched it.
It's like the Notebook, but for gay cowboys.
It just never appealed to me. Never.
I only saw it like really recently. I mean, I was way behind in my movie watching because we didn't have a lot of options for watching movies back home. So it was pretty weird.
I watched The Notebook because the girl I was dating at the time really liked to have sex after watching The Notebook. So I mean so I watched The Notebook.
Oh, like with the old people in the bed in the nursing home?
Yeah, well, like she would cry every time, obviously, because it's a tearjerker of a movie, and then whatever. So like, hey, I was in college, and it was that part was fine, but but that's not no. I'm not interested in those movies, and then it's a couple of gay dudes, and I don't want to watch that. No, nothing against the gay dudes. I just don't care to see it. And yeah, um, yeah. So this Power of the Dog one though is just like So this whole movie is leading up to those two being gay.
Who's in that movie?
I don't. Kirsten Dunst is the only one that I knew from, and I was hoping she'd show her boobs again, and she did not. So
she's old like me now, though, isn't she? I mean, she's like in her 40s.
Something like that. Yeah, she was pretty hot when I was growing up, so I'd still take a gander.
She was cute.
Yeah.
In other news, did you see the stuff going on in France with Le Pen?
I did see that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought they were going full on New World Order.
I thought so too. One of the things I think I was mentioning this with Bailey Robinson. One of the things that I think has really gone under the radar with this Ukraine-Russia deal is now Germany is like pumping $110 billion into their military. And last time Germany had a really big military, didn't end so well. That's really just kind of slid right under the radar. I don't know who's if there's anybody radical coming to power in Germany, but either way, if they're putting that much money into their military, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't trust those Germans. I think you're on mute. Yeah. Yeah, still muted. Anyhow, while she's working on that, yeah. Now Le Pen, if I remember right, is well, it's hard to say from listening to the media because they call her far right, but isn't like far right in France basically Bernie Sanders? Yeah, like yeah. So I don't know how I know she's pretty closed border immigration. Like she's very anti just open immigration like they have right now. And which honestly she probably should be. How many terrorist attacks has France had? Like actual like ISIS type attacks?
They have them pretty regularly. I mean, small scale things like knifings, murder. I think they still have a lot of issues.
But they had that Charlie Hebdo bombing. They had like that concert that got shot up, and wasn't it in France where like two of our guys stopped a train?
That's what I was thinking. That murder on the train. Yeah, like the didn't they make a movie out of it?
I think so. It was two of our military guys.
Yeah.
That stopped that. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, if we had experienced those type of attacks here, I mean, yeah, who knows how many different countries we'd be in over there. Like, because I think a lot of those attacks were directly related to the Syrian civil war, which we started, or Libya, probably both, which we also started.
You can pat yourself on the back for that, America.
Yeah.
Your tax dollars hard at work.
Yeah, it's it's wild. That I wouldn't want to be over in Europe right now. That's it's a little, things are getting a little tense. I like it over here. I think we should just stay over here. Ride this one out over on the home country.
Yes.
Like this Ukraine stuff is pretty awful. I don't like, there's accusations of war crimes on both sides, and they're both probably right, I would imagine. But they're both kind of assholes, and I don't see any harm in not picking a side between two assholes.
Yeah, and I think it's apparently Americans can't see shades of gray. Like everything has to be really, this is good, this is bad. And
Yeah.
I think especially with countries like Ukraine, they have such a complex history, even in modern history.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, like with that Azov battalion being pretty pro-Nazi.
Being direct descendants of Nazis.
Right. But, and I in no way defend that or that battalion, but when you're having Bolsheviks murder your family, you can sort of understand why some people might have seen Germans coming in as helpful. Like it's too complex and it's just not our business. It's like, if you hear your neighbors fighting, it's not really your job to go break it up or make peace with it. If it had more of a, I don't know, if we played a role in it, it would be different. But I guess my concern is that we are playing a role in it, and we are funding people, and we do have operators there, and we are doing more than they're disclosing to the general public. And so it's another one of those wars where, we're publicly not making a stand, but we are funding stuff. And I don't like that, because that's when I think it's, it's the CIA making decisions that should be voted on by the American people.
Right. And it's a lot more like Ireland, England, Ireland conflict than anything, because like Ukraine's kind of been trying to be its own country forever, but it was either Sweden or Poland or and then eventually Russia, and then Russia's been basically had it as their territory since the 1600s. And then like Khrushchev, who was Ukrainian, basically like it was something with like a drunken poker game that like gave Crimea to Ukraine. And so like, but outside of that, like Crimea has never been part of Ukraine ever, I don't think. And I don't know. And then that Donbass region kind of compare that to Northern Ireland, where they still want to stay with the empire as opposed to being independent like the rest, like Ukraine and the Republic of Ireland. Are pretty, I don't know, it's pretty analogous, really.
Well, and how, I mean, when
not analogous, synonymous.
Synonymous, yeah. When I see everyone though with their virtue signaling, stand with Ukraine thing, like those people in that Donbass region who speak Russian, who are, have a lot of relatives, their roots are in Russia. Is it really my job as just some random small town girl to like dictate who they affiliate themselves with? Like it's none of my business. I mean, I wish them the best and I pray for them, but like it's one of those things that people have to figure out for themselves. And it terrifies, it should terrify America, because can you imagine if something like that was happening here?
Oh,
like California wants to secede or something, and then like Russia gets involved or China or something. I mean, it would be so out of line. So I don't know. I'm sure it's messy. It just seems like one of those things, and maybe it's just because we're coming out of COVID and we've seen all of the media that we trusted, like growing up watching Peter Jennings and thinking that he was telling us the truth. And there was news on Good Morning America and stuff, and watching, I don't know, I believed that stuff when I was a kid in the 80s, and now knowing that that's all BS, it's really hard to watch the news and think that.
Did you see Brian Stelter get his shit pushed in the other day?
Yes, by the high school or college kid.
College. Yeah, it was like a freshman.
Yeah, that was a good that kid did an amazing job. I mean, he must be like a journalist in training or something.
Yeah, he was part of the
Right.
school newspaper, is from
Yeah.
what I heard. And he but also like could have toned down the editorializing too. Like he
Yes.
like that's one thing that like really like grinds my gears, if you will, with like Tim Pool. Like I think Tim Pool does very good work for the most part, but like golly, like his like his headlines too
Mhm.
are just like they're such clickbait. And I know I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you know, it's like Joe Rogan threatens to quit. And I was like, did he? Because I think I listened to this episode, and I don't think he. But all right, you got me. I'm gonna click on that temple, and they're like, and then like 2 minutes in, he's like, oh, he didn't actually say that. It was more of an offhand comment. I was like, yeah, okay, so you're just as bad as the rest of them with that type of bullshit. Like I know you're trying to like, but that's the same thing like that you bitch about. Everybody's trying to get clicks. How about you just do good work? Like
Mhm.
forget about the clicks and like promote it the old school way, and but mostly just do good work because you do good work. You're capable of that. So let's just continue along that path. But it's yeah, it's headlines like that and because most people don't even go past the headline. And so then it's like, oh yeah, Joe Rogan has threatened to quit. He's really making sense. Like, no, it was that offhand comment, like a couple hours into a podcast where he's like, nah, if it gets too bad, I'll walk away. I'm rich enough. And like, but it was no, he didn't threaten to quit. It was just yeah. So I don't know. So
I know.
I
I
hate
always,
that.
I think that I will like Tim Pool. Like I follow a lot of the stuff on Telegram. People are often quoting him. And then to be totally honest, I've never made it through an entire one of his podcasts.
He's a little rough to listen. He's got a very Ben Shapiro type vibe.
Yes.
And I don't know. I'm just
That's
not
true.
into that. I'm not in. I like and even like his IRL show, which is a little better.
Mhm.
But he's just not that good of a conversationalist. Like he's better at rattling off the news. Like he's not. I don't know. I don't feel like he'd be a good hang. Like I don't know if I'd want to like hang out with Tim Pool.
No. I think he'd be really annoying.
Yeah, I think so. And no, he's. But I think he's a valuable.
You should take him out to the feedlot. I just imagine him like doing something physical. He just doesn't really strike me as a very hands-on guy.
He claims he's a skater, but I'm sure he is. I don't know. I just I don't care that much to delve into it. So, but he's a very valuable news source. He like he does good work on that. I don't care for his delivery, and but like he reports on some really good stuff that you probably might not hear elsewhere, or at least at the very least, he tells you where the your typical media got it wrong or what they're not telling you. That part's pretty good, and so I'll kind of get over how annoying I find him to get to the meat of what he's talking about. But I don't know. There's I think Drinking Bros do a far better job on their like their reporting of the news. Like I think they do the way they refute the typical media is more my style. So Rogan, Dave Smith, those are kind of I like listening to those. I don't know, but he's it's good to have guys that like him out there, I guess. But
yeah, I guess I tend to listen to more a comedy and then just people sort of commentary on it. I really like, I don't always agree with him, but I like him a lot. That Victor Davis Hanson has a podcast. I listen to that every time it's on. I really like that. He has more wisdom than I do, so I kind of trust his opinion a little bit. Like I was probably more pro Russia than most people on this whole deal. and hearing him talk about it kind of toned me down a little bit. I guess I just got so excited. It's just sometimes you just root for the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am. And I'm so sick of the sort of global homo regime that's going on that I kind of like sort of the idea of like, I don't know, Russian Orthodox stuff coming into power. And I do believe people can change too, but I think that my hope of the whole thing is just fantasy. So listening to the Victor Davis Hanson show is good. He's just got a lot of good military and just kind of ancient wisdom that's really helpful. He's really smart guy.
So like Scott Horton is really good on the anti-war side of things. Like he's very well-researched guy, and but he's another one that I can't handle in large doses. Like I'll listen to him if he's on like another podcast. I'll always listen to him because like when somebody's like kind of steering him, he's pretty good. But like he's very long-winded, and he comes off as almost anti-American at times, and like I know he's not, but like that's kind of how he comes off, and that part, because he's got such a valuable message about like how all these interventions have just failed miserably over the years. But he's going to turn off the people that need to hear it most, which is like my type of people, just because he comes off as almost anti-American, and like he's not, but it's just he's very passionate about anti-interventionist, and it just I wish he was better at his delivery at times.
It's just so strange how everything has changed so much that like now the hippie woke social justice warriors, the people that were at Woodstock or their parents were at Woodstock, are pro going to war with Ukraine
and pro censorship.
Yeah, and then me, who's like on the extreme, I don't know, conservative side, independent side, I'm the one who doesn't want to go to war, and I'm a bad person. It's just so amazing how
because you got skin in the game, because Mark is still deployable, right?
Yep. Yeah, he's on the road right now, so it's real for me, and that's just not. I don't value that battle enough to lose my husband in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure I would have felt the same for other things, but this one I definitely am not into.
Well, that's the thing. Like I grew up in the Bible Belt. I was very, very strong Christian conservative type of background all the way around me. And, so like I was all for, support our troops going to war, and, never really questioned the war so much, just because, you're supporting the military. And, now I know a lot of people that came back all sorts of fucked up, and now, like, especially that the Afghan withdrawal was something like that was a bad spot for a lot of veterans, a lot of veterans like that. That was a bad thing for them to see. And
the middle finger. And how can you ever build trust again? Like, for any military family, when you see a withdrawal like that, you're telling me that's how you're going to treat my most loved person in the world? Like, seriously? I don't know. It's just treating people worse than dogs. I mean, it's just
and the bad thing is, like, there was no way it was ever going to end differently. Like, it was like we knew that 10 years ago for sure. Like Ron Paul on the floor of Congress said, like, if we don't pull out now, we'll be there for another 10 years, and it'll just get worse. And he was spot on, and it wasn't ever going to end any different, because we had no real plan of winning, and like nobody's ever won in Afghanistan, ever.
No, but they didn't have to like leave weapons for people, leave people.
No,
they could have left in the night where civilians weren't going to be trampled. I mean, that was really, you couldn't have done it much worse. I don't think.
I was like, like it was like Afghanistan falling, that was always going to happen. Like the Taliban was going to come back in and take over. That was always going to happen. But yeah, we didn't have to help them. I mean, it was just my God.
No,
and then
it's so
and then to give up Bagram before we have even remotely most of our people out. Like it was just catastrophic, and it was all because we wanted to blame this on Trump somehow.
It's
If they had like I've also listened to Douglas McGregor, who was like the guy that Trump appointed as like a special advisor to start the mobilization to get out of Afghanistan there, in the lame duck session. And this is a very, like, I think he was like lieutenant colonel, I think is his rank. But like he's like his area of specialty is in like the Russia conflict. But he was very anti-Afghanistan occupation. He was very against the Iraq war. And but they abandoned all that plan after Biden took office, then they pushed it back. And I really think they were going to try to keep us there indefinitely, but then Biden actually took a firm stance that we're pulling out, and the generals just, and whoever else was in there just drug their feet until it was like the last minute, and they're like, oh fuck, we got to get out now, because the Taliban was done fucking around. They'd held the ceasefire, and then they extended that ceasefire even though we weren't gone when we were supposed to be gone. And eventually, like, that wasn't going to hold forever. So, like, if we miss this deadline, well, now we take a lot greater chance that our boys getting shot at again, and people die that way. So, like, it was like, get the fuck out now, and it was just epic failure. Just good God,
logistical nightmare.
It was like Dien Bien Phu.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, it's Saigon, Dien Bien Phu, Waterloo, or what's Waterloo? What's the World War II one with the Brits?
Oh, Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Yeah, it was
horrible. And it's just one of those things where you just have people who are bureaucratic, high-ranked people not doing their job, who have either gotten to their position because they're just good at schmoozing and not actually qualified, or they've forgotten. I don't know.
They've thrown their the men under their care under the bus to get their promotion. So some soldier loses a magazine after a firefight, and you got a magazine unaccounted for, and that guy gets a court martial, but the commanding officer gets a promotion. And there's so much of that has gone on over the years. No accountability within the officer corps, and it's awful, just awful. And just like, all right, that was bad, but we're out. Let's not do that again. And here we are, like, knocking on the door of war with Russia. It's like, can we stop? Can we please stop? Like that leads to nowhere good. Nowhere good.
And we're not prepared for anything like that, as obvious with our fuel stuff, but also with Europe shouldn't be pushing.
No.
Either. I mean,
right.
The way Germany set themselves up.
Well, it's funny is how, like, we're trying to, like, encourage them to shut off oil imports from Russia, and they're just like, no, we can't do that.
Well, they don't have a backup plan at all. I mean,
I know. And then we got Biden over here. He's like, come on, man, just shut them off, man. Like, are you guys gonna pump more oil? No, we can't do it. Saving the earth, man.
Did you hear his latest gaffe yesterday? I wish I could bring it up, but I'm using my phone as a hotspot. But he said something
okay.
so messed up. So messed up. I think it was yesterday. And he was explaining something, and he just started going into a completely different topic. It was about the ghost guns.
Okay.
Yeah, look up his gaffe with the ghost guns. But he said something just unbelievably ridiculous. It was incomprehensible.
Was it about the hunting?
Yes. Yeah, I think he brought in something about tobacco companies, and did it include prostitutes?
Here we go. I'll put it up.
Order.
Oh,
Oh.
A functioning firearm, you bought a gun. Take a look. Take a look at this. Comes in this package. You can see the picture down here, maybe.
Oh, that was.
This is the gun. It's not hard to put together.
that's the whole point of a ghost gun.
Yeah.
You can put it together.
Anyone. Order.
Huh.
Anyone. Folks.
Maybe this one.
Oh, I didn't see this one.
Buy a couch you have to assemble, it's still a couch. If you order a package like this one over here, here's the parts you need to.
I think it was.
It was something about holding tobacco companies responsible or something like that. But it was an amazing one. A lot of times you hear his gaffes and you're thinking, did I hear that wrong? You try to make sense of it, but
here we go. That's where I saw it before. Daily Wire.
Assault weapons and high capacity magazines. I was getting criticized when I first passed this law when I was a senator. And guess what? I was down in southern Delaware, do a lot of hunting and fishing down there.
A lot of hunting and fishing in southern Delaware.
One of the creek
definitely.
And the guy standing there said, "You want to take my gun?" I said, "I don't take your gun." He said, "Well, you're telling me I can't have more than the next number of bullets in my gun." And I said, "What do you think the deer you're hunting or wear Kevlar vests? What the hell you need 20 bullets for? You must be a hell of a terrible shot." I'm serious. Think about it. Think about the mass shootings. And I know it's controversial, but I got one.
Just a lot of words of wisdom from that man.
Yeah. Is this? That's from March 1st. That's old.
I just texted. I just think I texted you it. But to your
okay.
phone, so that doesn't really help you. But
that's fine. I can. I can make that work. I'll put it.
So do you think he'll make it for the rest of the term, or do you think that the Democrats are done with him?
I thought he was going to be done by Labor Day of last year. But apparently they got some really, really good drugs. So I think he'll probably eke out. I don't know. It's only been a year, so I don't know.
I mean, at this rate, though, this exponential turn, can you imagine what our life will be like in 3 years?
Oh, I think the Democrats are going to lose big in the midterms.
Bigly?
I don't think it's. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. To tell you the truth, I don't know who else they're gonna get. Like, I don't know what they're gonna get done. I mean, it's just gonna be like a stalemate, and more and more what executive orders. That's all it's going to be. And he's not coming up with these executive orders. Like they're just putting them in front of him. And yeah, I don't know. It's who knows.
Did you see that party where Obama was snubbing him? And he was just, it was just amazing. Oh, it was so painful to watch. Like, you feel bad for Joe Biden. He shuffles around like some, I don't know, just Alzheimer's patient at a cocktail party. And he's trying to get people's attention, and nobody pays any attention to him. He's not really who you want to put your trust in as you enter World War III.
Yeah, that's for sure. Man, what a world. What a world we live in.
Did you ever hear anything, if anything ever happened with whatever happened with the trucker thing in DC? Nothing ever happened?
I don't think anything ever happened. We're not as organized as the Canadians. They were on the ball with that one, but
they had the element of surprise. I mean, I think that.
Yeah, like we didn't get up there to like, we didn't like combine with them, and like I think if we would have, that would have been a pretty incredible thing. But like, it just didn't happen. But like, we didn't have near the lockdowns that they did either.
No, I mean, I think Prince Edward Island still has some really strict ones, but a lot of states are still pretty strict. I mean, it was a really big deal. Even like this week, there was people arguing in Vermont about taking masks off kids in schools.
No, somebody just reinstituted their mask mandate. Here we go.
Yay. I hope
download. Hang on. Maybe not.
It was an amazing feeling when I went to my first place without a mask.
Oh, I bet. Tennessee has been pretty open the whole time, I think. I don't know for sure, but I imagine.
Yeah, no, I think they've been pretty free on it. And they've been doing some sort of I mean, it's not great, but a little bit pro-freedom things. Like, I think the governor's they have a tax on food down here, like grocery store food. And I think they're going to take a tax vacation this summer on it to try to help families a little bit. Which is good.
Yeah, we don't have a food tax here in Nevada, and that's
I've never had one before. Although, if you think about it, though, it is kind of a positive way to make people have a garden.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so here's.
All right, let's see.
We're the only outfit in the country that is immune. Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to prostitutes being sued. Come on. In February, the families of 9.
Did he say tobacco companies immune to prostitution?
He might have.
We're the only outfit in the country that is immune. Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to prostitute being sued. Come on. In February, the families of 9.
Get prostitutes on the brain,
Oh, well.
Dirty old man.
Hunty's got. He was just like, God damn it! He's got all the prostitution on that computer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Hunter Biden. I want to party with Hunter. Seems like a good time.
I don't know if you could keep up.
No, I definitely couldn't. It's Hunter Biden is what I view him about like Mickey Mouse when on the COVID special of South Park. That's how I view Hunter Biden. Like, Mickey Mouse gives Randy to fuck the bat and then the pangolin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. That's Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is Mickey Mouse.
He's one of a kind. He is really bad.
Yeah. like he's like he makes Billy Bush seem like a saint.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, what a strange world.
Or like, remember how hard they came after all like the Trump kids and stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't doing anything resembling that.
It's I always like, now I'm gonna start paying closer attention to like what the accusations that they're throwing around, because somebody is guilty of those accusations. Like they come after the Trump kids. Turns out that Hunter Biden's the one that's doing all the shady shit. They came after Trump over Ukraine. Turns out, oh no, it was actually the Bidens that were up to some shady shit in Ukraine. But not just the Bidens, but like the Romneys and the Kerrys and like the poor people of Ukraine. They've just become just a landing spot for all oligarchs of all types.
Oh, they must just hate America.
Free for all. Oh my God, I can't.
I mean, there's nothing worse than when corrupt American oligarchs hone in on your country, your rural shithole country.
Yep.
They're like, we could do some child smuggling and drug smuggling here. Let's use your airports. Let's do it here. You're chosen.
And it's funny how they the whole reports of the biolabs started coming out, and they're like, oh, there's fake news. There's nothing but QAnon bullshit. And they're like, oh, by the way, we do have some biological labs there. They are not bioweapons labs, though. And Tulsi's like, I never said bioweapons labs. She said, I said biolabs. And they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, there's some bioweapon stuff here that's left over from the Cold War. We were supposed to destroy that, but we haven't really got around to it yet. And I don't know if that's true or not. So don't strike me on that one, dear gods of YouTube. But I'm so close to getting monetized now. I just want to get monetized so I can be demonetized, you know? But I just want to hit that peak where I had monetization at one point, and then I can go all the way. But
you'll probably make like $3 or something.
Oh yeah, I don't. It's not about the money. It's just the status of being monetized and then demonetized.
It's always
because it's happened on Facebook. So and I made no money on Facebook as being monetized, but I had the option for a minute, and then it was in that period between it was in the lame duck period is when they shut down my ad account, and I don't know, I didn't use ads very often, but by shutting down my ad account, then I also shut down the monetization too.
So yeah, I had a really strange thing. I was shadow banned, and then they took away my ability to take out ads. And then I had some strange stuff happen with Facebook overlords. And so I canceled my account, and then I just went to open one, and it denied me. And so someone said I should go back and say that I was non-binary, and then it let me open an account the same day. So I thought that was really odd. Like, just changing my gender or whatever that is was the key for me getting back on it. It's like they do believe in second chances.
Only if but you got to go, but you don't have to change anything. You just say it. This whole non-binary thing is so lazy. It's like, you want to be gay, but you don't want to go through the motions of being gay. Like, you don't want to have to like prove the gayness.
Well, and also, would they qualify? I mean, because I'm kind of a tomboy, I think that would just count now.
Trans.
Like if I was 5 years old, no, not trans, but I think you could be non-binary now if you just like didn't want to wear dresses.
Well,
I think
okay.
that would count.
The patron saint of manhood, Leah Thomas, has done nothing to like say that she's now a woman, as far as I can tell, because like there's talk that the dick is still there because she walks around naked with her dick swinging in the locker room.
Really? Did they say that? Did fellow swimmers say that?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I blocked that out.
Yeah, so like there is no effort except for the fact that
it's the clothing.
I'm a woman now.
Yeah, and she wears they wear a woman's bathing. I don't want to mess up your monetization. They wear a woman's bathing suit. So that's what I'm saying is like if I'm wearing, some male Carhartts, I was authentically not lying to Facebook. So
yeah.
See,
well,
Facebook,
and then
my account. Let me be monetized. Let me take out ad.
And you can just be whatever you want to be now. So like you're obviously not fat, but you can just like yell at people for fat shaming you. And I don't know. There's the possibilities are endless.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just moving on to this deal where like I'm using wokeness to my advantage. So, I've been accused of being a misogynist before, but now I can use misogyny for comedy, all in the name of trans rights. Like these trans women are doing the job of all good men everywhere by just dominating women at everything.
It is depressing. I'm glad I'm not in collegiate sports.
Yeah.
I think that would be challenging.
Yeah, it's what a time to be alive.
It is pretty amazing though.
Yeah. The Florida bill that they're all upset about. It's that one's a funny one too, because it's just like we should be able to indoctrinate your kids way earlier than 4th grade. It's they should be able to be just lectured by a 300-pound purple-haired gorilla about how they are feeling their sexuality today. And like South Park has got it. Like Mr. Garrison's been doing that for years, talking about all this romantic encounters inappropriately to his students for years. Like they called that a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy how far we've come with that, where it wasn't that long ago that teachers were women and they were forced to be unmarried. And I saw a list of the requirements just the other day because we went to the Museum of Appalachian History, and it was strict. Like you couldn't have dyed hair. I mean, it was very specific. And I was thinking maybe we should bring that back.
It wasn't that long ago when there was a bunch of like hot lady teachers that were banging their students, and a bunch of old guys like me were just like, I don't remember seeing these hot chicks when teaching us when we were in high school. Poor lucky guy. Whatever.
You guys should have supported that more. Just the hot.
I know.
Thing. And now we've just crossed the threshold into it's just casual Fridays and talk about your Tinder account. I just don't think that I'm amazed at how, this shows you how good propaganda is.
Mm-hmm.
How people really believe in the US that it's the Don't Say Gay bill.
Mm-hmm.
If it really said that would be horrible if someone just wanted to, I don't know. Kids do say weird things, ask things. If we were going to, kick people out of school for saying that, that's not at all what the bill says. It just, the stupidity that someone would take the time out of their day to go to a protest, make a sign, but not read the bill.
Yeah.
It's not a long bill. It doesn't take you very long to read it. There were protests all over New England for that. And it's a horrible, horrible thing to be filling people with such misinformation. Because it was mostly high school kids, college kids who were protesting it that I saw, like very impressionable kids, and that just builds such fear in them. And they're already freaked out enough about the climate and COVID. I mean, these kids are all going to have nervous breakdowns soon. It's child abuse.
Yeah, they should have been more clear on the bill, and they should have called it like just teach your goddamn subject bill. That's it.
Yeah.
Whatever subject it is that you're teaching, teach that and only that. That's your job.
Yeah, and just keep your personal life. I just really don't think that's anything. I don't know. I mean, I went to school for education and I did student teaching and substitute teaching, and who I was shacking up with never entered the equation. And that's not some kind of heterosexual privilege. That's just, we did not discuss anything to do with my personal life. That was not on the table. And I dressed modestly, and I don't know. That would never, ever come up. I mean, if someone asked me a specific question, I would just say, you need to go home and talk to your parents about it. It's none of my business.
You know what I've come to realize is like, I think like these teachers that are like pushing their their particular lifestyle, whether it be trans or gay or queer, whatever that means anymore. Like queer used to be the slur for homosexual, but now it's like I mean, like, good work on them. They took back their word, I guess. But now I don't know what it means. Like, anybody can kind of identify as queer now. And I don't get that part, but I feel like those people that are just all up in your face about it are the same like jocks from high school that peaked in high school. So now all they talk about is high school sports.
Oh,
like
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get your
glory.
Yeah.
Glory days, and that's what these like these purple-haired freaks are. They're just all about like they never moved past the point where they like the gay, like they're gay.
Or where they felt really insecure about it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I grew up in a community that had a lot of gay and lesbian people because it was pretty progressive and like, gay marriage in Vermont. But I never felt like people were like, it was like their thing. I mean, it was their private life and it was their thing. And like, obviously when you go to deliver firewood and it's two guys, like, they're probably not just roommates, but it wasn't like they didn't come up to you and start talking to you about their sex life. Like, I feel like that's something new. I don't know if it's with social media or just a lot of porn or what, but the sort of hypersexualization of people in the US is really odd right now. I mean, everyone can do whatever they want. I don't care, but I just don't really want to hear about it. Just as
it's
I
like,
don't know.
It went from, like the gay pride parades, and then gay marriage got legalized, and now it's just like gay pride parade is every day. It's like, can you imagine if just all the Irish celebrated Paddy's Day every day of the fucking year?
I do.
That's basically what it turned into, except just the gay pride every day of the year.
But I just also, and I don't know, I mean, this is my heterosexual privilege talking. I guess I just don't think about that much. And I don't know if I guess they would say that's because I'm in a world that's dominated or that's set up around those ideals, but still, I don't know. But I have, since I joined TikTok in the last 24, 48 hours, I mean, I guess I see this from a lot of straight people too. It's just kind of a lot of I don't know, like hooking up stuff, but it's in a really bizarre way. I don't know, and I guess it's just I'm so removed from that stuff because I'm so old. I didn't do like online dating or anything like that, so I'm just not used to seeing that up close and personal. I don't know, I guess I just wish everyone would just kind of keep that stuff a little bit more on the down low. But especially with kindergartners, I highly recommend that.
That's how somebody gets shot in the face. That's not a threat towards anybody. It's a statement of fact. Like, you start talking that shit to the wrong person, kid, you're bound to get shot in the face.
Well, and it doesn't matter. I don't think even if it is like a LGBTQIA thing. I don't want a man, a straight guy, talking to a 5-year-old girl about anal sex when she's in kindergarten. That's totally inappropriate. Like all of that stuff does not belong in the classroom. And if you look at test scores throughout America, our test scores reflect that we're obviously doing something severely wrong. And I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe it's not really doing school in person, or who knows what it is, but our test scores are terrible. The rest of the world is surpassing us. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of other things they could be doing at school. But it just shows the US media's strength and how half of America thinks that it's a don't say gay bill. And on the same token, I mean, there's other Fox says stuff about bills that are misleading as well. I mean,
Fox is hot garbage too. They're
terrible.
They're slightly better than the rest of them, but they're still hot garbage.
It's terrible.
It's but I guess on the bright side, those people that supposedly were gonna kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, they got acquitted, or not acquitted, but they're just thrown out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it acquitted?
I don't know, but I think they don't have any charges. I mean, I think that they're all done serving all time and everything.
You know, I've been hearing this a bunch lately, and I agree 100%. Like those federal trials need to be televised or have cameras allowed, and because we don't know what the fuck happened. It's, you know, all you have is the shitty courtroom drawings and and transcripts, which can be redacted because it's federal court. And no, that shit needs to be public and open and televised.
Yeah, I think it would be revealing. And I do find it odd. I do find it odd when people like the left is so into like criminal justice reform and stuff. You'd think that would be kind of at the top of their list, but I am really glad that came out because
you'll never it was also
go ahead.
I said it wasn't whether it was thrown out or it was an acquittal, but it was based on entrapment by the FBI. It's the same. It goes the same way back to when they entrapped all these impressionable Muslim kids that were hanging out in like ISIS chat rooms or whatever. But chances are, like overwhelming chances are, had the FBI not prodded them along, nothing would have ever come of it, because eventually rational people are like, oh, these people are nuts. Like they're always going to have some success, doesn't matter, but like the more and more like we're over there, the more success they have. But every like case of like, you know, we stopped the terrorist attack on US soil, turns out FBI was kind of behind that whole damn thing in the first place. And so we sent a bunch of kids that may or may not have went rogue, but probably most likely nothing would have happened with them had our government not got involved in the first place. And that's exactly what happened with this Gretchen Whitmer deal. Like they found a couple dum-dums that were really pissed off at her. They got them to say some awful shit on tape, and then they prodded them along and like bought the weapons, like gave them a ride, and like that would have never happened had they not gotten involved. You just had a couple of drunk Michigan rednecks bitching about the governor in the privacy of their own home. That's basically what it would have happened.
It's terrible. Yeah, they're just working on some legislation in Vermont about giving basically more human status to legislators, so that if you say anything threatening, it comes with a much larger fine, or it's taken more seriously, like more jail time or whatever. And it's it's just unbelievably Orwellian, because it's a balance. I mean, you should be able to say, I think in the heat of the moment, everyone says things that are could be taken out of context,
Mhm.
you know, especially in the Whitmore thing where there was drinking involved. And I mean,
Yeah.
you're hanging out around a bonfire. You're not, I don't know. I just think us human beings, me definitely included, say stuff that it should not be taken seriously. And it's terrifying that you could lose everything for that.
There's a reason why I've classified my podcast as comedy from the get-go, because like I don't want shit. I know eventually, should this thing ever blow up, like there's plenty of heinous stuff when taken out of context make me look like just a real giant piece of shit. But it was all said whether to make a point or to make a joke. But I classified it as comedy for a reason, because I don't, more than any, the only advice I want people to take to heart is to do your own research and like make up your own mind. Like I'll give you my opinions of things, but like I take my opinions as just that, as an opinion. But yeah, and then that one dude that got arrested for trespassing at the Capitol on January 6th, J6, the day that will live in infamy.
Worse than
Worst
getting
day,
there.
worst day in American history.
Worse than 9/11.
Way worse. So many more people died.
Way worse than watching people on live TV jumping out of buildings.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, way worse.
Way
I mean,
worse.
these were like almost Nazis in the Capitol.
Definitely horrible people.
And yeah, so one guy got acquitted by a bench trial because he showed on camera that the police let him in, and
Yes.
so that's but I wonder how many people would have been let off had they gone to trial, but just didn't go to trial. They took a plea deal instead.
I can't believe that there's people still sitting in jail.
I know.
I mean,
And
it's insane. It's insane. Yeah, I saw that footage. I had never seen that clip that they used in the trial. And it is wild. And the FBI must have had that. I mean, that would have ruined the whole story from moment one.
That's
was
why they rushed to impeach Trump so quick. That's why they rushed it through. And like I remember watching, I didn't watch the trial, but I listened to the whole thing. Like I think almost the entire I listened to it almost in entirety, and I was like, they have nothing. They have nothing, and it was just a it was just a show trial. That's all it was. And I don't know. And like, for the record, Trump probably could have acted quicker. Not probably, he could have. He should have. Like, and for all the people that they bitch, like especially with Jen, my girlfriend Jen Psaki, she's still kind of hot. She's not super hot, but she's kind of hot. Anyhow, like she's moving into MSNBC, and of course conservative media is all up in arms about it, and this overlook Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Kayleigh McEnany and all these other Trump administration people that are now at Fox News. Like, what's the fucking difference? And then
that's what they all do. I mean,
I know, and you see all the text messages on, like, I'm kind of in favor of Trump not being able to hide anything behind executive privilege, but I think that should go across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think we should see all of that, and see how many Fox News hosts were texting his chief of staff saying like he needs to tell him to go the fuck home. Like, yeah, like the media and the upper echelons of government are so intertwined, regardless of who's in power. And even Trump, who was supposedly the outsider, has a bunch of Fox News people basically in his cabinet, and now they're back at Fox News, and part of his cabinet's at Fox News. I mean, it's yeah, that revolving door thing it knows no party.
And it's always been like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and the fake news and the media being horrible to the innocent. I mean, none of that is different in American history. We're classy like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you got another like 15 minutes or so, or are you gonna crash?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. All right, let's we'll call that for the main episode. We'll head to Patreon. But
Awesome.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Kate, you're back on social media now, so we got good people following us now, so you won't get harassed.
Oh, good. Yeah. The haters just get blocked. They don't get any kind of like dialogue with me. So I'm Meadowdale Farm on Instagram, and I just joined TikTok, and it's Meadowdale Farm TN for Tennessee.
Oh man.
Woo-hoo.
I'm gonna start trying to do more stuff on TikTok, just because that seems to be the platform that's like the second biggest platform in the cowboy community. It seems like it's like Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok are the big ones. There's quite a few on Instagram as well, but TikTok seems to be where everybody's at. And
yeah,
as much as I don't care for it, it's gonna grow it at all. You gotta go where the people are. So
yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm Move Your Ass on Facebook. I'm gonna try to grow the Twitter following too. Maybe this Elon deal is. I used to like Twitter a lot before it got real political.
Yes.
There's still some pockets of Twitter that are really fun, but it's hard to find them amidst all the political bullshit. But I'm at Puncherific on Twitter. I had Move Your Ass, but then I got pissed off when they banned Trump. So I deleted my Twitter, and then I kept going back to Twitter to check the news. That's honestly the best source of like what the trending news is Twitter. And then at Burning Daylight on TikTok. So thanks for tuning in, and Move Your Ass with Burning Daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning